Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, patriots, engaging platform where we the strength draped in our symbolic values that are our community through.
I'm your co-host, Margo. Do not forget our newly publishers about the truth of Jesus courage all. Do not forget our newly publishers about the truth of Jesus courage all to adhere to.
Was released and continues to advocate for those freedoms that for all those political prisoners and that for all those political prisoners. And we also are reaching out to those that are watching the live stream right now. We're looking to grow our panel that come every week to engage with guest speakers, Sheriff Chad Bianco, and participate in the famous state-to-state intel round. In the state-to-state intel round, thanks for media. And we need support from our viewers and those that help us. GiveSendGo.com/RedAmericaFirst/donate. $20 could help our national mission a long way. So, everyone, let's start with prayer. Dr. Pastor Aaron Gray will lead us into prayer tonight. So, if all Red America First family members bow their heads. Thank you, Pastor Aaron. We're going to call on you right now. So, give me 1 second, and we're going to call on you. Here we go. Now. So, give me 1 second, and we're going to call on you. Here we go. Thank you so much in advance.
Thank you for your service, sir. I really have a lot of respect for those who wear the badge and uphold it. So I just want to say thank you, sir. Blessing another opportunity to serve you in this great land of ours. As we come before you tonight, Lord, we ask you to put into our hearts a desire. Before you tonight, Lord, we ask you to put into our hearts a desire, a yearning that your will, your purpose for this place, to follow after you, to follow your commandments. We thank you for that. So we ask you to just of this country, Lord, from the smallest point, draw them ever to close to you, what you've given us in your word. Amen.
Dr. Aaron Gray, he's on Pastor's Point every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We encourage you guys to join that. We are now going to do the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, indivisible, with liberty and
on our in the national anthem. Let's see if we could hear.
Okay, sorry about that. That's part of the tech issues.
No problem.
Lights last gleams through the we watch. We're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and the home of the brave.
Just perfect tonight, and I gotta tell you, after hearing she was having some technical difficulties, we were sweating it, but she turned out sounding amazing. It sounded great. Good job, Leslie. Please understand that was a great job. So much to discuss about the poor managed constant crime, and hopefully we'll get to discuss this. But what a beautiful introduction to start this interview with Sheriff Chad Bianco here on #Gubernatorial Race. How upon governors in Los Angeles County.
I certainly do appreciate it. With me as the governor, had I already been, is what it is here at California Department of Fire. We would not have had this disastrous of a fire. We cannot get rid of fires. We have fires all the time, especially, and then in the dry time it dries out, and then we get the fires and of old growth. That the fuel that was the bad policy of bad regulation that has prevented the fire departments from cleaning out this old growth, from doing back burns, from doing preemptive burns, that fire would have never reached them. So this is unbelievably the government. So our fire department, I've dealt with the fire department and fires for 32 years now. As a deputy, we have to evacuate people. We have to keep their homes safe during those evacuations and then allow them to come back in, hopefully to a home. I speak with the fire department all the time. We're going to have to pull out if you don't do something because we know what's going to happen. They were predicting these fires. They were predicting these disastrous results in these enormous fires. And now and then it comes to pass. And the response is irrelevant because I mean, then it just kept showing more failure. They didn't have enough water. We have more water in this state than we know what to do with, and we dump it all in the ocean, so we can't use it. That's role of government here. Let's cause regulation to raise more taxes so we can waste more money. So his response now, environmental concerns. I'm not quite sure what the environmental concerns are because the environment was completely destroyed by fire. It makes no sense to anyone with common sense, but yet we still have government getting in the way of progress of these people trying to get that home back. Every single person in Sacramento inside our capital should be completely embarrassed about themselves.
I totally agree with you. Well, what's your stance on Newsom's fiscal priorities? Would you maintain his heavy education spending or redirect funds to address issues like homelessness and infrastructure, things like that?
The only fiscal policy that he does well, and he probably does better than anyone in the country, is waste money. That is it. There is no fiscal policy. It's dump money in whatever special interest or whatever group is being the loudest, or you cannot get away from, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but the amount of money that we waste on things that we shouldn't even be spending any money on, it makes you wonder who's getting kickbacks, it makes you wonder how many people have become millionaires over the billions of dollars that we've wasted. So our fiscal policies of fairy shrimp that no one has ever seen and no one probably ever cares to see. We have environmental concerns that are more important in this state than actual humans. And that is what drives our regulation and our policies that are forcing everyone to leave. Our businesses are all fleeing. I mean, just today, probably something that is more iconic California than anything is In-N-Out Burger. And they are now moving.
Yeah.
And they're moving because of failed policies, crime. The taxes are far too high for businesses. The regulations are putting businesses out of business, and we're losing another one. So when you fiscally waste money on things that truthfully, there are things we shouldn't even be spending money on. Our education system, we spend more money per capita of student than anyone in the country, and that the school administration has removed the testing process so they don't have to report how bad the test scores are to show their failures. We are serious. Our government here is failing generation after generation of kids that are not getting the education and the learning environment that they deserve.
One big issue that touches me big time, Chad, is the water issues that state has. Growing up, agriculture is a huge part of California, and exporting to other states like Florida and other states that don't have that much good produce, and the water's always been an issue with seeing the farmers having their crops getting impacted. Some had to declare bankruptcy, sell their land. And how can we mitigate water being really upset of the water management in the state?
Californians are extremely upset about the water management in the state, and our government doesn't ruining their crops because of lack of water. It says water to keep something alive, and that once they tap into that water that's theirs anyway, it's a fine. So it's fiscally putting them out of business. It's almost like, and this is more conspiracy theory things that you have to talk about, but when you expend all of your common sense, and when there's no more reason, then you have to come to the conclusion that maybe this is on purpose, because I don't believe that anybody there is stupid. They are. We business the rest of the country, but California was I doubt with me as governor, environmental ridiculousness that is stopping our farmers. Water We have more water in our mountains than any state in the country. California mountains get straight to the ocean. We don't save it. We don't keep it. They haven't built reservoirs in years. They passed bond measures to get billions of dollars for new reservoirs. We haven't done it in decades. There hasn't been a new one. They've actually shut down reservoirs. The policies in this state, the agenda in this state is it is for an ideological agenda that
Not sure if it's true or not, but and they kind of have control over that. I don't know if that's true, but
so it's a great big boon. It's but they're shareholders, and then we still have to keep paying ridiculous rates. Just several months ago, I mean, luckily it's an electric bill running my air conditioning. In California, we can't even manage our power. We have to have rolling blackouts. That there's such a demand for power that we can't meet. They just automatically shut it off. They don't give you money in return. They don't give you your money back. They don't refund anything. They just shut off your power, and you don't have. And they were out of power for 5 days. Yeah.
So those that are watching the live stream, we're going to go into in a little while a Q&A where members of Red America First Town Hall will be able to engage with the Republican candidate for governor of California 2026 here in a little while. But Valerie, go ahead with your next question.
yeah. So just curious to know how you plan to end homelessness and how will that
Do it's back to you make them affordable. You can't industrial builders that are commercial builders that say that the term affordable housing is just a complete joke in California because it's only several builders that can build. And so these homes that like a 900 square foot home that may be $1.5 million, a private company could have built that for 300,000. 300 in turn drives up the rest of the house prices. Why homes are so expensive is completely regulation. It is 100% about environmental regulation and other building regulation that has fees that go along with it and that has to build on and sell. Time is money, interest on it, and all of those things that they work into the cost of that house. So when it takes 1 year, 2 years, sometimes 3 years to go through the permitting process because of environmental concerns, that just adds to the cost of the home. So removing those, and no other state has these. We have the highest home prices in the country. It's no longer affordable to buy a home. Trying to come together with other that you have to go find somebody to go and have rent. There is no other way around it. It is just an absolute fact. It is because of government regulation that drives these house prices. So can't make any money. They're actually losing money on people that are selling their homes and up because you've got 50 people waiting for one home. They'll pay as much as they possibly can for it, and the prices just go up and up and up.
You know, Mr. Problem and for decades, policies that you're going to be able to quickly reverse, and what would you like to tell those voters out in your state? But here's my plan.
Yeah, this is the downfall, the actual demise of public safety in California started in 2012 with a bill called AB 109, Assembly Bill. Too many people, too many inmates for the amount of prison space that they had, and the judge said that that was inhumane treatment. You had to have so many square feet per inmate, and they set the limit on what you could have for inmate population. And so rather than build more prison, which any common sense person would tell you, if you have 4 kids in your home and you have 2 bedrooms, if you don't want those kids sharing homes, you have to buy a new home or build on bedrooms. You don't get to give away one of your kids. It's common sense. So what he did is he just released inmates in those state prison inmates back to county jails, which have never been designed to house permanent inmates for long periods of time. And so it caused overcrowding in all of those county jails. So with that, we had to release the people in jail that normally would be in county jails because we were in California. Every single drug was made a misdemeanor or an infraction, drug crimes. Theft, the threshold of theft was taken to $1,000. So you could just take a calculator with you. Criminals actually did it, and they would go into a store and add up what they were stealing. And when you tried to stop them on the way out, they would show you that they were 100,000. They were under $1,000. It was absolutely ridiculous.
That's
It was actually, it was to say, other crimes were made misdemeanor. There were no more violent crimes. There were no more violent felonies. And then you could petition for your violent felony that you were in custody for. Now that we changed the law, just petition the court and they'll make it a non-violent so you get out again. And so ordered about 70,000, almost half, and it filled all of our county jails and crime skyrocketed. So from 2014 till now, and it just goes straight up like that on every category: homelessness, drug use, drug addiction, theft, violent crime. Everything is just through the roof.
Well,
So sad.
I'm going to open it up to members, but first, Chad.
Very good. I just want to add that we were able, law enforcement and our district attorneys last year were able to pass a bill that we put out to the voters. So it was a proposition that was unanimously voted on. Almost 3/4 of the state voted yes, and it repealed parts of those laws that were made so bad by Prop 47 that was supported by Gavin Newsom. Our entire state legislature, including the governor, the attorney general, they were against this proposition. They were fighting to keep it off the ballot. They were telling people they had to vote no. And luckily, the voters of California saw through it. And I think it was a wake-up call for all politicians in California that we've had enough. You can say that we're Democrat, you can say that Republican, whatever you want, but 75%.
As California is very important to me, as I grew up in that state and I have family still there, I'm curious from your perspective, vote for me. What are you going to tell the voters? And we're
around 9 Democrats that he's going to support Kamala Harris if she gets in the race. But the leaders of our assembly, some old retired politicians, but it's the same familiar faces and names that caused all these regulations and laws to be in place in the first place. So nothing's actually going to change. Absolutely. And so nothing's going to change, which really was the ultimate driver in me deciding. So why am I running for California governor? Moral that are here for the California dream. That dream is no longer. Our government is stopping that dream with taxes, highest taxes in the country, the most regulations in the country. And I am going to bring common sense, reason, and sanity back to our government. Transparency will be key. Everyone will know what we're doing. There will be no more backroom deals. There will be no more wasteful spending into nonprofits that are unaccountable. The billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that no one knows where it went, that will be accounted for. And if people need to be prosecuted for it, they will be.
perfect. We're going to start with our Christian pillar leader that's moving to Tennessee. We're going to unmute her. Teresa, go ahead with your first question. Those that are watching for his race for 2026. Go ahead, Teresa. Thank you so much. 30 seconds, guys.
Honestly, I don't know how you people even stay in California. My question is how homeless people living out on the streets with their feces and drugs and needles and everything else.
So it's actually very easy. It just has to be enforced. If you watched back it was about a year or so ago, that when the president of China came to San Francisco, if you haven't seen San Francisco truly is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And boarded up, the streets are lined with homeless that are laying in the street doing drugs in their feces, like you explained. And it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. But when the president of China came here, the governor sent the highway patrol, which doesn't really they're for highway patrol, not crime and in cities. But he sent the highway patrol through San Francisco and they cleaned it out in one weekend. And when the president went through, the streets were cleaned. They were all hosed down. It looked like the great city again. It was vacant because they made all of the homeless were gone. But they made it a beautiful city. But it showed that if you really wanted to, you could. There was one horrible law that was just overturned by the appeals court that allowed camping in public places, in the middle of public places, and that was overturned. So we can now enforce that again, and we can get them out of our parks. We can get them off of our sidewalks, but it takes a law enforcement and a government willing to do it. Los Angeles isn't willing to do it. These Democrat-led cities, they are not willing to allow their police officers, their police departments to go into these cities and clean it up. Unlike Riverside County, where we do.
And that's the Nancy Pelosi's and that whole power hungry group, you know?
Yeah, it's an agenda. It truly is an agenda to make millions and millions and millions of people dependent on government. So you keep voting.
Town hall members are from all over the country. So we just had a question from Florida. We're going to transition to Texas soon, Hawaii later. But Doug, Texas, what's going on? Go ahead with your question. Thank you.
Yeah, my question is, and it goes back to Pelosi's and all that, is that California mafia, how Garvey, an LA Dodger, to try to go up against Schiff, who's an idiot, you know, and still he lost, or Newsom getting booted out on that kind of stuff. How are you going to combat that? That's the question. Because
Yeah.
you have to get into office to be able to affect these changes.
And
Yeah,
Doug, you got to go back to Governor Brown days.
Oh, I can go even,
But
you know.
Governor Brown put the
Oh, it goes way back before that. This guy named Burton, Phil
conservative
Burton, it went back
Republicans
way
and
that.
Hispanics. You know, Governor Brown really screwed things up with.
It goes back to the Gettys, man. It's, if you know anything about California.
Our plan is, and what we believe our path to victory is taking my background in law enforcement, take the fact that those horrible fires, it's from the fire side. And so by having the complete support of fire, the complete support of law enforcement in California, and then knowing that 75% want that changed, and truly 65 to 70% of all of our political concerns in California involve public safety. So we're trying to attract residents in our cities that want to be safe. And so pointing out that the party currently in charge is one thing different. So we think we have a very good path to victory. And then the other concerns that you said after, and I'll just about Steve Garvey, I did everything I could to get Steve, you know, a path to victory for him and help him in his campaign. The problem with Steve's campaign is it was a federal campaign that wasn't directly related to a reason to come out and vote. So we're going to try and take care of that. We're going to try and address that issue, draw more people into the voting this time, because we're truly going to pass on the message that if we don't do it now, we may not ever be able to do it. And this cabal that they have in government, that they just have complete control over it, they've passed laws, our voter ID laws, they're non-existent, or this mail-in balloting that is ripe with fraud. They don't want any of that changed. But if we can slide in the back door on the public safety issues and the school issues that we have, and be the only person that offers a change to that, once we get in.
Thank you for that, Doug. Thank you for that question. That's from Lone Star State of Texas. Now, Rosemarie, we're trying to get you to unmute. And if you can't do it in 5 seconds, I'll pass the baton. There you go. Go ahead, doll.
I have a question with first. I understand that the United States government gave $40 billion for the construction of a high-speed railroad in California, and construction was supposed to have been completed money, and now I understand it's going to cost $100 million to complete that railroad. What has been happening with that, project?
Yeah, well, to put it very, very plain and simple to you, absolutely nothing. It's probably too hard to explain for someone that doesn't live here in California, or that you could ever possibly imagine. There's that they put it. It's not main cities. It's not a main thoroughfare. And it's actually, if you want to travel it, it's actually a pretty nice drive. You just get in your car and you go. So this has been there. I guarantee you, from a law enforcement perspective, my personal opinion, I have not looked into the books. I have not looked into anything about it, but you cannot explain and you cannot tell me that there is not criminal activity of embezzlement going on with this high-speed rail project, because it has been billions of dollars. And $100 billion is a ridiculous number, because it's nowhere near that. It's going to be 200 billion, 300 billion. And they've only built, they just look at it and say, my gosh, talk about a complete, perfect poster child example of government inefficiency and government waste in this boondoggle with nothing to show for it.
Terrible. We're going to Oklahoma. Oklahoma State Chapter Leader Leslie Mahan. She led us in with the national anthem tonight. Please go ahead with your question. 30 seconds. Thank you in advance, Leslie.
And for an important position, Hollywood, with all of the DEI and all of their mentality of, the entitlement of DEI and, all of that type of stuff. And these are people that supposedly were like, oh, we're raising money. Good people like Mel Gibson that lost his house in the fire, and they're not doing anything, to help those people. So, world, the good people. I'm just curious, California, just from everything that I've heard, how are you going to handle?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get in trouble for their opinion is going to be their opinion, but those things and those policies and those requirements will be completely taken away. The American dream is working as hard as you can to achieve something, and we all have equal opportunity to do anything. We don't have equal outcomes because everybody doesn't apply themselves the same. The opportunity is always there, but how hard you dedicate success, and that's what we have to push. But yet they live in an ivory tower where they're easy to talk down to us on, but I don't see them doing it. I don't see them giving away 3 of their houses. They've got 4. They only need 1. Give 3 away, give our hard-earned money to help them. So the actual actors, there's not really much you can do about the actors, but our movie industry, Hollywood is no longer. Hollywood is not the movie capital of the world or even the country. It's the regulation and the prices and the costs of everything here has driven people elsewhere. The movie companies go other states and other countries even to film because it's no longer conducive to do it. Regulations. We have to encourage Hollywood that we have to get rid of the regulation. We have to get rid of the taxes and bring them back. So one of the problems that Democrats will say and that they will tout is more than 99% of all of our taxes come from big business. And we can't hate big business too much because those are who give us our jobs. So if you bring in business like other states are stealing ours, and they're going to bring workers with them, and they're going to bring good jobs for our workers. And when you allow them to build more equity and capital in their business, they expand their businesses and make more jobs for us. And really cowing down all of our social issues, and Hollywood is one of them.
Wow. Very good Q&A there. Thank you, Leslie, for that question. He will bring to the table.
Okay. I'm in California, northern. My kids are in a downfall. Actually, this can Sand Hill Road. They have been killing the small business. All have done to this state. Per capita state, the businesses have become muffin. But there is a lot to be done in Washington.
Absolutely right. I'm not going to use that, thinks that, and believes that. The problem, our vote doesn't count. And what that I'm going to have to steal all of the people that have been sitting on the actively go into this. We get in there, we're hoping that my background, law enforcement, integrity, and doing the right thing, we will go in there with the attitude of, we know there's fraud. We know there's the lawyers and the special interests and the money laundering and the kickbacks. We know that all happens. And make sure that our bit with you, the lawmakers to make can survive, then they're forced to close. And that's Home Depot. But when it was keeping their family alive, and now that's going with you. But we are going to, President Trump and Elon Musk are doing it. There's such an uproar here about, they'll call me Trump or they'll call me MAGA.
Wow.
So, wow, that's great to run for the governor's seat. But my question to you, or already have in place to protect the vote.
I can tell you that we really hear about it, especially during the presidential election. I can tell you that for the most part, sheriffs in our state, there's only 58 of us, and the overseeing, delivering the ballots to have them counted, how they should be held. I cannot tell you that we eliminate all the fraud, because with mail-in ballots, it's impossible. We know there's fraud, but we do everything we possibly and vote the right way. We know it's not going to be like in the middle of the night, they change the ballots and they change the ballot count and things like that. So we can to help me get into this position. My answer to you is yes, we do, because it's broken also.
And our town hall is, look, for what you're saying so far. Let's go to Texas now. Person here is going to be able to
income specifically in potential governor in California, right, that it recognizes unique. The California Department of Justice, the Bureau of Firearms, is almost like a much worse version of the federal ATF, and they regularly go after their constituents, which are both things that make owning a gun in California extremely complicated, extremely expensive. And coming from a military and law enforcement perspective myself, I think you'd probably agree that making it easier for your citizens to own firearms and making it smoother makes your law enforcement job a lot easier. So I was wondering if you can make any commitments if a bill came across your desk, if you would sign away something like the assault weapon ban or the handgun roster or rein in the California made towards that front, and how do you?
Screen's really dark, so I can't tell how young is happening here because pro Second Amendment here in Riverside County in the history 3,000 permits. It's just going to be the wild west. It's a fun to me how that is still liberal judges in our court. There are law abiding a crime. Assault with it, and I'm over here. You can't see it. It's sitting on people that hurt people. It's not the gun. Defend yourself. Going to hunt. It was another country or the wrong laws that are sentences on criminals who do.
close to 5 questions or less. Let's see what happens. Thank you.
Is that isn't fire department 20,000 people you need?
It's along very rural areas. Response time depends on where you're placed in the city. We have but in my rural area, that it takes people working the big cities. So because I think you have to community and
your message is reality. When people have to, and so people know appeal because California, we have to smaller campaign budget than
be able to compete with the Democrat Party, well-funded campaign. Even what are that there's something different. There are families of not. Yeah, I can't vote for that. So this is going to be a winner. We're on board with us to there's 40 million out. That is enormous. President Obama did that. Wasn't the big donor. Would really like is just more of a person in it. If you can donate in it, we're going to have a massive.
We'll see how.
Nice to meet you. You
Sheriff since 2018.
Shut down and everything like that. Or here without a mask.
Or I'm just teasing. When they were trying to decide the year since county because we chose to close our own, but you were going to be okay.
And we also have so keep to the script, brother.
Very well. So I'm just there. But thanks again. I'm just there. But thanks again.
I will do all California for your campaign. We need California for your campaign. We need to
Payne, you can go online meetings in my rally.
Okay.
Oh, good. Payne, you can go online meetings in my rally.
Okay.
Oh, good.
And
Tell me what's up.
California. I'd be happy to for here. So
Well, before we actually announce, but it's coming from have family thing they can. Before we actually announce, but it's coming from have family thing they can.
So Chad,
They can.
So Chad, Valerie, and I, and all asked the co-founder. I'm in Riverside County.
Office is downtown Riverside at any station. So of truly a lot of. I wish I could clone. Had to actually, with common sense, be in a much better place. And minor disagreement. It is, and not personal relationship that believed in the past, and I think, as a young doesn't happen anymore.
Thank you again. We're going to discuss that. Things, intel to get in the primary. I know what's. So let's get Barrett up here. But go ahead and tell us.
I'm traveling. Speaking in power, when things are a couple of things, anything that's Bondi and the DO seems issues. When she was Florida, to just support also for 8 weapons, battle overseas for 8 weapons, battle overseas, but home. So I think those are actor, just go by actor, just go by ATF. But that in era law progress that in era law progress that specific the and there's also the pistol as short barrel file picture popping up. That was a term colonial era. You can 3D for hundreds of years. Reversing that, fill out what's called exhibits. The register has been collected. The ATF has been searchable. It's not as illegal under that happened because what was done in the PF and repeal the NFA, handle the NFF and repeal the NFA, handle the NFA. You guys should do. There were which has created after 1980 or 1986 are still in circulation between a second rifle 6 are still in circulation between a second rifle from 1986 that is regulated by kilograms. I don't know if that is regulated by kilograms. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Brandon Herrera, my home district. If anybody's ever heard of Brandon Herrera, my home district. Who above everybody, he gets in, destroy all these opinions that are above everybody, he gets in, destroy all these opinions that are.
Work out and ask if you update that you gave. What say you on that? We definitely.
If you guys want to be active,
definitely.
If you guys want to be active, I know I'm gonna go.
Definitely.
If you guys want to be active, I know I'm gonna go experience. I know I'm gonna go experience generation. Is that the NRA? I'll experience generation. Is that the NRA? I'll tell you this. Rights. They've signed off. I'll tell you this. Rights. They've signed off on a lot. Give these agencies the. They've been sent to support, and there's a lot.
Thank you, Barrett. That's in Texas. Any of you a list full of people to help me while I ask is these panel members no air time, no quiet air. Leslie, Oklahoma, Brandy. I hope he gets in. Help us out while we're gone. We'll be back.
Okay.
Brandy, you're up. Guys,
Okay.
work together. Teamwork. I'll be back. We'll be back.
Yeah, I've got a proof today for FBI.
Oh, I'm excited about it.
Lots.
It's going to scare a lot of people.
And and we're going to start being able to, and I think that, and I'm in complete agreement with him.
Over the Trump assassin, been down Mar-a-Lago twice, Butler, and then when, according to him, he has actually looked the second assassin in the eye. It's getting ramped up, and that's.
Yeah, I think those are the two biggest things, though, is that assassination is they're going to start, because of course we all believe them.
One, too.
Yeah. So I think we know with what's going on is you can't just ongoing, So that was just we're going to get to see. Now, what is he doing? Everybody else to just now the Democrats on two things, Tish Patel and RFK go through, and I was Alex Jones, but try to just inundate everybody with Dominic Barrett, the head of the ATF.
Texas, I see her hand up. Is she still there?
Yes, congressmen and senators that have become the job for Elon Musk.
It sounds like you got to find the fraud, then you got to prosecute them.
Do you think they
good up to this point?
Okay.
I think it was yesterday or today that even how is he a millionaire?
Years ago? Okay, you have to unmute.
You're still muted, Ken. Screen your unmute button, the video icon.
No, we can't hear.
Questioning.
Yeah, you're
right.
Coming up as muted. And
yeah.
Okay, you want to go to home is a super advanced telecommunication systems that is connected to
this. I can tell you, for some reason, that talk about like really advanced technology, and it's been hidden in this under this whole program. It's like these black ops secret programs where all this secret money that kind of got dumped into these programs through the Pentagon. Remember all that money that went missing on September 11th? when I see these Space Force stuff, because I've never actually met a person that's in Space Force that actually, I mean, it appears to be legitimate, but I can't say for sure that these are legitimate documents or not.
No, just looking at it and being an engineer, this just looks like a mishmash of science.
Provided that you accept ancient times and things like this, that the face of out of the air is. Now I can't get either one right. I studied ancient. That's what all the other races have. I don't know.
I don't know.
That I know. You have to look in. Why would all the nations agreed to back in the future, 50 years from now?
Internet technology and the regular. So I mean, you're right. Why would they make
to control the weather? And that just makes sense to me because it's called multiplexing. Give them a slightly different. So why verse right now is just perm. Verse right now is just perm would be.
Well,
so I've done would be.
Well,
so I've done a lot of because I started looking back at a lot of things and came to the Bible. Back at a lot of things and came to the Bible, and then you start checking that with frequency. harmony. Those are the two main ones, and wool and linen and then cotton are the three. But they have this thing is like you can't mix the three. But they have this thing is like you can't mix this one with that one because the frequency harmonics.
Are you trying to get in, Tom, for some things? Tom,
No,
are you trying to get in, Tom, for some things? Tom,
yeah, linen and cotton's at 1 out of 100.
To only have
Linen and cotton's at 1 out of 100.
To only have linen sheets. Take this in sheets. Take this cold cream, and it's doing it as kind of a kick expensive stuff. Cold cream, and it's doing it as kind of a kick expensive stuff. But it was buying that. Moisture, as a matter of fact, I'm testing one buying that. Moisture, as a matter of fact, I'm testing one lip service. Oil, a little bit of vanilla now.
Wow.
And so something that started off as just like a little hobby, and our motto is to go forward, you have to go back. Our motto is to go forward, you have to go backwards first. You have to start understanding, and more people need to look at the kind of
Ashley says we need Trump administration side. Ashley says we need Trump administration side. Who is it?
On the case there, when Biden came in, he said, take him the right to fire anyone. So
yeah,
that's
what to say back earlier there, Ken. Want to piggyback on what you wanted to say or ask?
No, I love the discussion what Doug was talking about, the frequencies. Having a free energy device we talk about, that's another feasibility going on. Having a free energy device we talk about, that's another feasibility going on. The business cult.
Ashley comes back. He can explain questions on the ascent.
Business cult.
Ashley comes back. He can explain questions on the ascent. Money they have saved so.
Okay, this is, please, I'm going to,
money they have saved so.
Okay, this is, please, I'm going to, about Professor Richard. He debunked all, keep telling you guys, is head of the snake. He debunked all, keep telling you guys, is head of the snake, went to Europe. So I accepted by through fraud, Wall Street, in the military industrial complex, billions, okay? As country, we are tax slaves, military industrial complex, billions, okay? As country, we are tax slaves. That has to be done. So
I'm happy to take their.
What happens to inflation?
So that means,
how are you going to pay your debt? That's himself. Where is the de facto president of this nation? Come on.
What happened?
I am done with
Attention is to collaborate.
Right.
That's what they're bringing there. Yeah. Catherine Austin Fairman was thrown under the bus. I want to
hear you.
Oh, okay.
Seconds, brother.
Ashley.
I would like to. I have never seen. He definitely made the EU.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Scare Europe and push.
What are you talking about?
He did it. They like he gave one clinic. Yeah. Well, they're not so happy.
And JD.
Yeah.
Because you don't seem to like any.
Every topic. In some aspects, and it JD Vance for a second, and
I am sorry, Richard Wolf, who are one of the best.
Where a member drag, okay, if people don't need to keep American people, so I do weak. I mean, we know Mike on different topics, talking
off the deep end, but a raid with a German. I mean, it jail. It's a good way. No longer work, walk it, but it was very powerful.
saying to
Well, I mean, have been basically historically for 70 years. That's we're all on the same page as far how things should work. Now, I'm not. They were partnered back then, and then we get rid of all. They were partnered back then, and then we get rid of all. I don't know if anyone noticed on. I don't know if anyone noticed on. I don't know if it was on the heels of JD Vance. I am about. I don't know if it was on the heels of JD Vance. I am about big violations of the law, banning, etc. So they're calling for people. So they're calling for people.
Oh, Ashley.
to process back
Ashley.
to process back.
Rob, there are people from Burlington, to be checked out. And the lady looked over at me. Never know really what side turn up there. I just wanted to tell you the time my family struck me that God honed in that Trump did not swear on the Bible. Do you know that actually swearing on the Bible is not a good thing? Like, it's
against the Bible.
We shouldn't be doing that at all. And so I found awakened to the truth, enthusiasm about. I was just like, wow, okay. So I just wanted to share.
I think the far left Democrats,
I agree.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Biblical sense. Bible's very clear. It tells us to let our yes be yes and our no be no. What that means is our word should be trusted. It should not have to be questioned or thought about. If you look at someone and say, "Can you pray for me?" That is something. You're gonna swear in the Bible, and this is actually one thing bigger than yourself. So it's not actually about the better mean it. So you're not gonna do it. You don't do it. It's more about, can someone look at you, hear what you say, and then see you actually doing that thing, applying it in your life. And this is really important for a lot of years, and I talked about this on They Proclaim It when you be trusted. How can we not supposed to swear in the what you're saying you're going
So you're saying that do you have integrity as
and do you have you're at work and you're supposed to be at that, but if you have you're at work and you're supposed to be at that, but if
and he tells us not to swear.
Okay, that's a good confirm what I've heard today, that they are going to start inoculizing chickens with an mRNA. Anybody can verify chickens with an mRNA. Anybody can verify it. I would.
Well, you know what that says? It says, and so that's something we need to go after, this technology, because it's already been proven to be, dangerous technology. And if you're consuming something that has that in there, then you essentially have it in your body now.
So
something that has that in there, then you essentially have it in your body now.
So I have a question. About that. I thought handling all this stuff.
It's a process.
About that. I thought handling all this stuff.
It's a process. And people have to. Our organization will be great. Mosquito issue here in Kauai, and people have to learn how to shut these things down. They have to learn to mobilize. They have to learn, unfortunately, until people are in a is here is, the more people stay apathetic, the bigger spanking they're going to get. And that's something that everybody needs to look at, because that's across the board. Not just
like I say, I haven't been able to catch.
What scares me is not going to, getting in. To me, is not going to, putting in their bodies. That's
so. Several of us on this town hall. Several of us on this town hall have eaten some of these products that we had no idea that they were putting stuff.
At mRNA, there are protocols that you can access that will help I don't know if we really should be talking about those protocols openly here because it is about making recommendations.
You're gonna get me a strike on YouTube. Hang on a second. I do wanna talk about the chicken scenario that Rob brought up. If this is serious, that Rob brought up. If this is serious, we all need and have mRNA and
Breathing it every time they put that stuff in the air. I don't know if it is in your state, but I see the crisscross applesauce every single day.
Okay.
Yeah, we just got the ground.
The government did approve, from what I'm seeing, like $500 million to Moderna for.
Pan was talking about doing is, what do you know about that? I forget what they call it, the certain type of mRNA, but it reproduces in your body, and then when you breathe, it's like a virus.
That's a misuse of funds. Talking about, oh, they're destroying my research of being able to find about LGBTQ++.
The chicken farm.
Well, all they got to do is find one case of bird flu among them, and they just give them a choice: kill them now, or lose everything, or else we pay you and then you kill.
Work was the first test.
Now,
so guys, this book right here, I recommend everybody go get it. The God Gene. This is what their NA and all of that.
Leslie.
The Nephilim, I know, was the only one left with a pure seed.
Okay, here's the thing. Down because of we asked, if you look at David and Goliath was 10 feet tall. Here's the problem people don't understand. Our height over generations has gotten taller than it was. 5 feet tall. No, I would you were not wrong in a very simplistic way.
So Trump size, who's under 5 foot.
Well, the Bible taller.
Yeah. Because how tall is Barron Trump anyway? Does anyone know?
Isn't he like 7 feet or something?
Yeah, I think he's over 7 feet. So that's on the way to like 7. Okay.
Where did Barron?
Pardon yourself.
Is that, and then
I love it.
That Barron's face was like so awesome,
Has that been confirmed that that's actually what he said to him?
I can't confirm that absolutely, because here's the thing. You get a lot of information. I mean, I'm plugged into like hundreds of Telegram channels with different varying degrees of view. Personally, some of it you can, but a lot of it you can't necessarily. You kind of have to wait and see what actually comes out of the wash as true by picture, and no big picture ever gives you.
Yeah, I'd still like to know what was in those letters at Bush's funeral.
I know, right?
And Trump were talking about it.
Oh yeah,
at the funeral. Yeah, his reaction too was kind of.
Anything, Ashley? Do you want to chime in? Well, good.
We're waiting on that. Last summer, didn't they already start putting that mRNA into some of the vegetables? I thought it was like lettuce and tomato. I'd heard about that.
Why would they do it in vegetables?
Because they want it into our bodies. That was the way to transport it into our bodies, similar to putting it in the pork.
I apologize, guys. I had to rush to the studio and pause the TikTok feed because the things we were talking about might have got me a strike. And
oops, sorry.
I'm in warning status, and I can't afford to lose the 35,000 followers.
Gosh. Elon cannot do that to us.
It's not Elon. It's TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's owned by something else.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were saying X. Sorry.
I will say they are, according to this, they are putting it in. They do trials and stuff for corn and other things. So they are putting it in the vegetables.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna be so paranoid we won't eat anything.
Exactly.
Oh, I guess
Well,
we'll
you know,
I know we need to get back
yeah,
to
we'll
grassroots
all
living.
grow
That's the
our own
solution.
garden. We'll all grow our own Well, I
um,
garden. think RFK Jr. will pay attention to that, and so will the FDA commissioner that has been nominated. I believe I don't know if he's in yet, but I know the other ones have. He's going to be the head of the FDA. He is opposed to vaccines and such. So together, you know, they may be making some changes here. So I think that's a wait and see.
Exactly. So thank
And
God.
I think
Can
it's
you
going to be
imagine?
a positive wait and see too. I think it's going to be good.
But can you imagine if this team had not come in?
Teresa
it had
done
no
what I was talking
sense.
about, Teresa.
What's
So,
that?
you know, it's going to take a long time to turn this ship.
Yeah.
Don't
But
expect the
these
steam to
people
come
have
in and
no
say, do
common
this,
sense.
and it's going to
They're so
happen.
ignorant. You know? To me, they're just.
Oh well, you
have
know
no
what? He's
common
moving
sense.
pretty fast, and he is seeming to jump on things that do need immediate attention.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting and seeing because he is moving pretty swiftly, you know, on some very key things that we don't have time to wait a year on.
Like Elon Musk is up to hurting everybody. He's just a man, but guess what? He's a believer. He's, you know, a man of
Yeah.
faith. He's not
So-
getting
Actually-
paid to do this, you know?
Trust but verify.
The enemy of the people
Yes.
for decades,
Exactly.
for decades. And I just want to show everybody a video that the tide's turning. And I want to give you guys an example right now live, because everyone needs to see that people are waking up and they're tired of the lies that get passed to the people. So let me show you guys a video that we posted, and I think it's important for people to hear the response. And these are people that support Trump. Maybe they're not necessarily. You guys got to stop lying. Here we go.
Of course, there will be mistakes. The question is, you know, some of these mistakes are really high stakes. Accidentally firing people overseeing nuclear weapons. Do you see that point?
Humans will make mistakes, ma'am, but currently these are bloated programs. You have no-show employees that are angry that they're having to go back. Have y'all even talked about, hey, Mozambique, we sent them $10 million for circumcision? Okay. I mean, goodness gracious, ma'am, Americans are paying.
We've been covering at length
salaries.
Where the money is going
No, you
to.
haven't. You all y'all do is run down Elon Musk and Donald.
Get your time.
So she.
And I feel the same way about the ones that want to talk
That's how they do it.
I can't tolerate them.
That's exactly what they all do when they can't answer or they're put in a corner. They just cut them off.
Well,
that-
it's part of the gaslighting stuff that they continue to do. That the woke
Exactly.
people are trying to tell that Trump and everybody is gaslighting them. Give me a solid break right now. Yeah.
No.
They're actually still pushing their narratives.
Yep.
And meanwhile, America's moving forward, and these people, and I'm telling you guys, these people are still subscribed to the television, and they're still being programmed.
Yes.
Okay.
Sad.
They are watching scripted news, and you know the next pandemic that comes, they're gonna line up, and we're trying hard to tell people to stop believing everything that's being pushed down to us.
Yeah, the newest terminology is that there is a constitutional crisis. All of them are talking about
That's the gaslighting technique.
Over and over again, and trying to get people law or as whatever, because they are panicking.
Well, I mean, history is repeating itself, Rosemary. If you think about it, look what happened to, you know, the Hitler and all of them. The same thing. They were doing the same thing to the people, telling them all this stuff. So
Trying to infiltrate everyone, all of our minds and so forth with this narrative that they keep repeating and repeating and repeating.
Yep.
So we know
you're being quiet.
We do know that there's some positive things going on with the border, okay? But I want to ask you guys, Pam Bondi and even Christy Nome was talking about, if you screw around with the ICE investigation, we're gonna lock you up. And something's already happened a couple weeks back. Do you guys know what happened, Rob? Anybody?
I think with AOC, she was trying to distribute information to people on avoiding ICE and how to avoid them. And I think they are trying to go after her as well.
Good.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I
Well,
saw that. She was telling everybody to not answer their door.
Yeah.
Well, how is it that she still walks free? I just want to ask a question. How can a congresswoman blatantly go against the law like this? I mean, this is a treasonous act in a sense.
But
and
they've all
get away with
committed
it.
treason. They've all committed treason. You know?
One of them.
Well, maybe Cash will get all the FBIers to go arrest them all, bombard their doors down, just like they did the J6ers one fine day.
I hope so.
Well, I have something to share with y'all about J6ers. I have friends of mine that are out of Dallas. They're actually at CPAC. I forget which one. But breaking news before I came on the show, one of the J6ers, I think it was Lang or something, he was kicked out of CPAC.
What?
He was what?
Kicked out of CPAC.
No way. Why?
I don't know.
Well, he's on our guest list with our PR list.
He's coming on our show. Yeah, I heard something about that. Bring him on. Yeah.
I'm going to Google it.
Well, and I told my friend, I said, CPAC is ran by rhinos anyways. Those people that run CPAC, I forget their names.
Yes.
They're rhinos.
Yes. They are total rhinos. 100%.
That explains it.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you for fact checking, Doctor.
Rhinos are just Democrats in disguise.
It says Fury as Gen 6 defendants banned from entering major conference, CPAC.
That's it.
The J6 rioters, pardon my president, claimed they returned away from the Conservative Political Action Conference on Wednesday night. Among these stopped were Richard Barnett and famously Nancy, who was famously photographed with his feet at former Nancy Pelosi's inside of her. Anyway, that's somebody. Former Proud Boy. They're naming the names of them.
Well, are we talking Jan 6 being kicked out?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
One of the reasons might be
not kicked out, banned from attending.
Yeah, they're bringing a class action suit against the U.S. government. That might not be the best thing to show up at a government event or a political event. If they're bringing a class action suit, I think it's $50 billion is what they're asking for. So
I don't blame them.
Blame them?
I don't blame them one bit.
No,
I mean, I'm a
J6er,
J6er, but I wasn't locked in jail because God is my covering. So there you go.
Amen.
Yeah.
that just might explain why, though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder if Stephen Friend will be resuming his position with the FBI. Remember Stephen Friend that wrote that True Blue book? We had him on our show.
He's came on, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's another interesting question is what's going on with Jeremy Brown? I seriously been raising my eyebrow, pinging the people that I was connected with, and they were saying, that it's because he was turning on the FBI, whistleblowing on the FBI is why he wasn't given a pardon. I don't know what's the truth anymore.
well, they could also be holding him for like why the judge had to let allow President Trump to fire all those people. Maybe they're waiting to set a precedent so they can go after the people that went after all the J6ers.
Well, didn't a couple of these people, or at least one of them, probably more than one, but didn't a couple of them that got arrested, they weren't supposed to have firearms on their property or something like that because they were already they were on parole or something, some kind of thing that they had done previously and they were breaking the you know, the code, like, you know, whatever
Parole?
it is, by having a gun in their house, and they weren't supposed to at that time. And when the FBI did come and bust them, they ended up finding that, and that's what they are holding them on the charge of. And they're saying that's not the charge from the January 6th. It's now a new charge of, you know, having possession of such and such. Another charge that has nothing to do with January 6th.
Rob, before you hang up, how do we deal with Ken going forward, like as a team? Because I mean,
I don't have any way of muting him once he's unmuted. Actually,
Teresa's got a point. You know, he's always banging hard.
Yeah, he's got one singular subject, and you're either going to agree with him or you're a piece of you know what.
And the thing is
obviously
he doesn't like Trump.
He's against Trump. He's against everybody. He's against Jesus. You know, I mean everybody that we all stand for. So I don't
But
understand
he
why
really is against Trump. He says nothing ever good. I mean, I am surprised that he comes on this because
I don't know why he does.
Hasn't seen it
I don't know why he does either.
He's not in the same mind as us.
I have a
Are we
solution.
still broadcasting?
Wait, Rosemary's got a solution, but I did shut off TikTok feed because I'm in a warning status and I can't afford to get shut down. But YouTube's still going and Rumble's still going, Twitter's still going, and Facebook. Go ahead, Rosemary.
I have a solution. Red America First is a very positive program. We are a positive organization. If we cannot be positive, then we cannot take part in the discussion. We have to all we cannot have any negatives with regard to our discussions. If you have a negative, you have to just, you know, hold it to yourself. What about trying to do that?
It's just like cussing, you know. I mean, if we stand for Red America stands for Christians and patriotic people. He's neither.
Correct. That's why I'm saying.
Well, he's patriotic. He said he'd go to war with us. So
yeah, with us.
Yeah, and you know, you don't want an echo chamber of the same old thing. I mean,
if you
got to have some people that are opposing a little bit, but he really doesn't seem like he likes Trump very much. But you know, I mean, that's a given. But you can't.
But he always says idiot.
It's very annoying.
Democrats on here then.
Okay, we cannot. Then our policy is we cannot call people names. We cannot use negative intonations with regard to anyone, especially our government officials. This is, I think we have to have a policy, and this has to, you know, be maybe we should write it. We should write up a policy.
The only problem about that, Rosemary, is I can't abide by. I'm going to say that Biden's an idiot and Obama's an idiot. So.
Oh no, I understand.
You gotta be fair about it.
So y'all are talking it. Y'all are talking it. I was just gonna say this real quick. Y'all are talking about writing bylaws, correct?
Yes, yes.
We don't have to have bylaws. We might have just a policy.
I think bylaws is a good thing to have too, Rosemary, especially since we're a 501c3 and a 501c4.
But I do want to comment that on the show we do have a panel like kind of agreement that panel members will, you know, blah 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 blah, and part of that is respect guests, respect, you know, other panel members, and don't push a personal agenda, per se. And Sandra's absolutely right. We have to have
Unheard Americans.
we have to have we need
to hear everybody's opinion, but he has to be good about it.
We need to be able to hear a difference of opinion. Yes, and the way we deliver it is important. And at the same token, I don't want certain people to clog up so much airtime away from other people talking. I haven't got to talk to Becky Texas. Susan Hawaii hasn't got to talk that much, and I'm sure there's a lot more members that haven't had to say a peep. And to Rosemary's point,
yeah,
he was very negative, and we need to control it more. And to everybody, I have discussions with Ken very frequently to be very professional and respect everybody, and he crosses the line very frequently, and I gotta work on this. So I yield.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
He crosses the timeline. That's the thing. He crosses the timeline.
Our policy should include the kind of respect which we all must abide by, and that we must show each other, and without any negatives. If we want to say or have a difference of opinion, we must do it in a certain way, and that might be the way to go about it. Also, we cannot utilize more than so many minutes. If because we have to be respectful of each other. And if we put that in writing, perhaps that would be the way to go.
Ashley, I think a good thing would be to go ahead and throw the timer back up there, because I think if people see that, maybe it might do something. I don't know.
I think somebody just got to hit the mute button on him.
What I wish I could do? It's like a Mario game. You got like this little bar, and 40 seconds it goes to 1 second, and boom, you're muted, and we move to the next person. That's what I kind of want to get to. Like the way ESPN used to go subject to subject, they'd mute the guy and then they'd move on. I want to kind of do that, but people abuse the power, and they go rambling on forever, and I want other people to be able to talk. And again, Sandra and Valerie agrees. We do need to have difference of opinions. It's okay to dislike something Trump may do or whatever. There's a lot of things Trump has done that I'm not happy with, and I'm a co-founder of this organization. But it's okay for us to have disagreements. But to Rosemary's point, it's how we do it. And let's move on to the next topic. Thank you.
In addition, you also might want to implement a policy where each of us speaks. You've had your chance to speak. We have to go on to somebody else, so that he doesn't have that ability to be able to repeat himself or to come on several times.
Yeah.
See the idea of my Mario bar, when the time goes out, it slowly adds back life to it. Gets full again, and then you could talk again. But it spreads you out, so so you're kind of on the sideline, letting other people chat. That's my desire.
But the problem is when we have somebody, who's being intelligent and everything, like Rob or Magisto or whatever, or Dr. Pastor Aaron, I mean, we don't want to cut them off at 40 seconds, but someone like, he needs to be cut off because he's just saying stupid stuff that's making you mad. So I'm in the background. I'm like, I've had enough.
Hold on. Now, Teresa, it's not stupid what he's saying. Some of it has very good backing. That's the thing.
Some of the stuff is serious.
He says things right.
Some of the stuff is serious on the financial side. Yeah.
You said
before the pastor chimes in, I just want to say one thing. In the event that you went over your time, it would just be a negative balance for your next lifeline. Go ahead, Pastor. Thank you.
You said you talked to him and tried to get him to be courteous of others. You've tried to get him to quell it down a little bit.
So I don't want to necessarily single Ken out. It's Jesus and the teachings that people have been putting me through lately, and since Valerie and I have taken the reins of Red America First 100%, we've made mistakes of how we tried to get people to change their ways, and debate's really what makes us stand out is having a little bit of difference of opinions and topics of intel. We all might not believe in the same intel that's going on out there, but that's important. And but we made mistakes with some people in the past. How to kind of handle these situations, and look, we're human, we make mistakes, and we give people chances, and I've given Ken many chances, and I've burned myself in relationships because I just gave up on giving people chances, and I just don't want to do it again, because we're I'm trying to be better for everybody. I yield.
But I would
Well,
go ahead, Gaso.
I would just like to make a suggestion that we table this until the state to state, or when we're not recording live, that we should be on talking topics at this point in time.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree too.
Okay. May I ask you something, Ashley? Your second question here. Where did you come up with this?
So, okay. So,
new Iron Dome.
So this is a good topic you bring up. Valerie and I also have been in disagreement with some things that Raf has done in the past. So, she's getting more intel put in that she's getting from what I would declare a far right feed, right? Something maybe Susie Hawaii may have read in Telegram, or maybe Sandra, maybe Brandy, Ohio, Teresa, Washington. They kind of subscribe to some of these feeds, and I really don't know this information, so I'm hoping Valerie would come back and she could talk to it. But this is something she got in Telegram. So
yeah, this has a feeling of a psyop written all over it. I mean, it's
what is
big
it?
Words, but they're meaningless put together.
Read it to Susan. Maybe she can make something out of it.
Trump's new Iron Dome is a super advanced telecommunications system that is running with super intelligent operations of AI systems that is connected to a quantum fields of energy intelligence from multiple dimensions, protecting the U.S. from outside and inside attacks. Whoa.
To me, it sounds like a shield.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah.
These words mean nothing.
Israel has its Iron Dome. Remember?
Yeah.
So from an aerospace defense guy, personally, this topic of an Iron Dome, we do need to have a better defense system as a country. And the one thing that none of us, please don't leave me. They want to talk to you about this Iron Dome thing. But real quick, I don't know much. We have never been attacked on our soil in our lifetimes. Okay.
Huh?
And
9/11.
from 9/11. Okay. You guys, let's put that on the table of not really missiles coming into the country. Okay, let's put 9/11 over here somewhere, but we really haven't been attacked from an adversary country in a war type environment. So hell yeah, we need to do some upgrades, because other countries have some pretty cool ways of attacking, and maybe there's things that we need to improve in. Over.
Pearl Harbor.
just like to say that this has no way pertains to what Valerie has pulled up. I can weigh in on that, but just to say that I get very little, the least amount of time I spend on any of my research is Telegram. And there's a reason for that. Telegram is at least 50% misinformation. Telegram, you have to be very careful and vet your information. Telegram is rife with false accounts, false, editing mishmash. There's just a lot of craziness on Telegram. So you have to be, I spend the least amount of time there than I do anywhere. And if I do, I go directly to information that comes from X or somewhere else, and then I vet it before I even exchange something like that. So Telegram, I spend the least amount of time on, hardly anything. I don't go on there sometimes for days and days. There are other places I go for that. So just, but then having said that, what Valerie pulled up is interesting because we are dealing with an interdimensional, phenomenon, and this does not, in any form or fashion, adverse to biblical teachings, especially if you get into the Book of Enoch. We are dealing with interdimensional beings. We are dealing with, phenomena of that nature that we've never been taught. So we're having to learn something completely new that has been adverse to what, our school teachings and our church teachings for that very reason have been. So I completely understand what they're saying in that. I don't know if it's legitimate or not because I haven't seen it and I haven't followed it to see where it's coming from. But there is definitely an element of truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you guys think of Chad Bianco? Is he someone you would vote for? Because Molly and I like him.
Definitely.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. In fact, what I'd like to do is put a blurb in our next newsletter about him.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we need to
Okay.
get a real America First candidate in there for California.
And he wants to donate anywhere to his campaign, and that's huge.
Can we get a blurb from him I'm sure he has some literature or something that he has. If we can get that, I would like to include that in the
Yeah, I'll get it from Ruth. What do you want it to say? Like how to donate to him? I mean, just
Well, we got this. I got it. So real quick, guys, do you guys want to see any breakdown of the Black Hawk hitting that commercial airline flight?
Yes.
Is that okay? Someone said yes. Okay. Then there's also a topic of getting AOC arrested, for getting involved. But we know that she's not arrested yet. Okay, so I'll show that video in a little while. And what about Marco Rubio making deals overseas? Rob, you know about the latest?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
they were in not Abu Dhabi, but they were in somewhere in the Middle East, and I'll get the clarification here shortly. And they were working out a peace deal with Russia and the Ukraine situation.
I thought that was down in Saudi.
Radaya,
That's their
RIYADH.
second most important city in Saudi. Was yeah.
That's Saudi. So that's Saudi. Okay.
Yeah, they're leading the peace deal. They're leading the talks on it, which it's kind of
and you guys are aware of all the states that are flooding right now. And Detroit, Michigan had a pipe burst, and the whole street was frozen, and you could ice skate on it. I mean, everyone's cars were damaged.
Well, that's called global warming.
Warm out there, huh?
Bernie Sanders is upset that that Elon Musk, this billionaire, gets to call the shots in the U.S. government, and he's telling mainstream media that he's running the country.
Yes, they're calling him president. Anyway, it's getting late and I am going to sign off. And by the way, Mike did call me earlier and told me he was inundated and would not be on tonight. So I am letting you know that, okay?
All right. Well, you have a good night, doll.
Thank you. You too. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Can't say.
Well, I guess it's time to go to bed, everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, when Rosemary goes to bed, we all go to bed.
Okay.
You guys, thank you so much for participating tonight. It was an amazing episode.
Mhm.
And we'll see you guys on Monday for Pastor's Point and next Thursday for Town Hall. Love you guys. Have a good weekend.
What's on Pastor's Point this Monday? You still don't know, do you?
Well, all the pastors are in some kind of conference in Texas, so she's having to rearrange the guests we were thinking of getting on. So I'm not sure yet, but I should know in the next day or so.
Okay. Just wondered. All right. Good night, everyone.
Everything's fluid. Love you guys. Have a good weekend. Bye.
All right. Take care.
Oh, man.